Hey y'all, it's Sarah, so welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here, welcome to my channel. I am a follower of Jesus Christ. I'm a disciple of Jesus Christ, and my YouTube channel is a faith-based profile, creator, however you want to put it. But if you do not believe in Jesus, you don't know what you believe in, or you believe in something else, please feel free to be here and don't feel like you can't be here. You still have a seat at my table. Just come as you are and we'll all grow, learn, and heal together. And I'm so glad that you are here. And today we will be continuing part 2 of the Who is at Your Table? Let's Talk video. So I will link part 1 to this video down in my description box down below, so you can kind of go back through it if you haven't watched it yet, or you want to rewatch it, however that is. I also want to throw a disclaimer out here. I do have a notebook here. I want to read off some notes. And can we talk about how fast the year 2025 is going? It's halfway through May already. It's almost June. It's just crazy where time is going. I just cannot believe that. So if you watched my last video, part 1 to this Let's Talk video, I left off with talking about pretty much remembering and knowing who you are, and being so careful with who and what you are letting speak into your life and speak into you one-on-one, especially corporately in general. It's just so important. When you know better, you do better. We're not going to know everything about everything, but when you know better, you do better. I want to also start off with this video with saying something so vital and so important. I just want to throw a disclaimer out there as well. We are not perfect human beings. None of us are. Like, we don't know everything about everything. We're not perfect. We will go through hard seasons and hard times in life and difficult situations and loss and even happy times. But something that I don't believe I mentioned in the first video at the top of my head, but even if I did, it's so important to mention it again. Pay attention to how you feel after you've been around someone, or you've been somewhere, or been around something, a group of people. Pay attention to how you feel later on, even if it's an hour or two, or when you're with them, or like a week later when maybe you're going through something, you're not feeling the greatest mentally and emotionally, spiritually, and you're just like, what have I been doing? What have I been around? Pay attention to how you feel when you're around somebody, or after you've been around them. I wish I could have really picked up on that and knew, I guess, earlier on. I do remember it was back in the year 2013. I remember somebody had telling me this, and I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I forgot about it, because you want to gaslight yourself sometimes. Am I really picking up on this right? Is it just me? But I had went to a leader about a situation that was going on, and I remember telling this person of how I went to them for wise counsel, and I'm not going to go into this situation, but I went to them with wise counsel, and one thing that I remember telling them was that I felt so tired and I felt so drained after I'd been with a person. I felt like the life had been knocked out of me, and I couldn't figure out why. And I remember one of the things at the top of my head that they said, you need to go to your leadership immediately, because this is like, and he proceeded to go into a little bit more detail that I will not, go into on here. But I did not realize that one of my first red flags that I should have known with this person that I was hanging out with a lot was that I felt so drained. I felt so tired. I felt like I had nothing left to give. I felt discouraged, just not myself. And I want you to also know to be careful of control and manipulation. Somebody bossing you around, telling you what to do. And it's not like, say, hey, I think that, maybe you should go see a doctor, or have you thought about seeing a doctor? That's like an example. And they're being like, no, you're going to go see a doctor. You're going to do, and you're going to do. Like, control and manipulation, that's a big thing. And I'm telling you, when you take your power back after you've been around somebody that's controlling, controllers don't like that. They will, and when they realize that they cannot control you, they will try to control how people see you. And it's not you. When you take your power back, that's so important, and it's such a breakthrough. But just know that the people or situation or place that's trying to control you is not going to like it, and they're not going to probably stand back and be quiet about it either. But just stand your ground. Something that I was, briefly talking about with this group that I was in, and that this church that I was in at the time. And I'm, like I said, and I'll say this again, I'm not trying to start anything, speak with malice. I just really want to share this, because if it can help one soul out there, it's all worth it to me. And I will continue to say that, because it's so many times have you heard people come on the internet or wherever to share their story, they felt like they were alone, that nobody knew what they were going through, nobody would understand. Most importantly, God knows, God understands, and He sees it all, and nobody gets away with anything. I just will throw that out there right now. But, in this church, I'm going through a process right now, and I will probably not be able to explain a whole lot in this video today because it's still a journey I'm on. But I realized with this place that, I was just so angry, and I believe I talked about this in my last video, part 1 of this, but kind of touch base a little bit. I was so angry, and I did not realize it. Like, I started to, and this is just a moment of vulnerability, and I'm not saying this for somebody to use against me, but I didn't realize it. Like, I started to hate myself and hate who I was and what God created me to be and who God created me to be. And I did not realize that it's almost like drinking poison, and you just keep getting sicker, and you just don't realize what it is. It's just like drinking something and you're getting sicker and sicker and sicker. That's the only way I can really explain it, and you don't know exactly what's going on, like what ingredients making you so sick. But the leadership, I believe that we'll all be in some kind of healing process until we go into eternity, we leave this earth, But this leader had mother issues growing up, both in the women's group and the leader of the church. And both, were not healed. And I'm not trying to sound judgmental with that, but you just, being there, you just knew after a while that there were things not healed. And so the way that women were treated as in the church was not good. It was a lot of religious legalism, condemnation, shame, and just really going against women. And I did not realize that I started to come into agreement with, I hated being a woman. I hated that God created me to be a woman and not embracing being a woman. And then, hearing in this women's group, this constant infliction. And I just I had to get healing from that and repent and be like, Lord, I'm sorry that I hated your creation, and I'm sorry that I hated the fact that you created me to be a woman. And this is where, again, I'm going to say it, watch who you are letting speak into your life, because if they're dealing with something that's not healed, people will talk out of their wounds. The whole quote, hurt people will hurt people. And it's not saying that what they do, to not hold them accountable or to not address it, call it out in love, go to the person. But be careful, because you don't want to come into agreement with things that they are not healed of, and they're not wanting to address. Let's put it that way. There's times that people are in denial, or they don't see how broken they are when they really very much, in fact, are broken. It's everybody else, but not them. I would encourage you all, if you don't take anything away from this 2-part video, love who you are, love who God created you to be. And if you are in a place that is just draining the life out of you, get away from it. Talk to a trusted adult, whether it's, a doctor or somebody outside of the place. Get wise counsel. That is in the Bible. I know people like to say, well, you shouldn't be talking. I know something that you will hear from people who are maybe potentially mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically abusing you. You shouldn't be talking about this to anybody. Well, we're not meant to do life alone, and it's not gossip or not trying to slander somebody when you're going to somebody for wise counsel and being like, hey, something's wrong. Can you speak into my life? And God created you. You are fearfully, wonderfully made, and He loves you so much, and He did not make a mistake when He made you. And I can't stress to you enough, if somebody is controlling, if you're in a church, you're in a ministry, you're in a group, and they're condemning you for where you're going, I know in this specific place, I didn't catch it in the beginning, but I'm a person, I'm in a church, and that's my place to serve, that's my home, for an example. But if there's something else going on, like maybe another friend of mine's church is doing, maybe they're doing a bonfire, or they're doing a church service, and I get invited to go, and I had the peace from God to go, I'd go. And something that I didn't realize, that this place was very controlling. They did not like their people going to other places. We're all supposed to be one and united in the body of Christ, and that's another big red flag. And sometimes when you start, digesting and you're drinking this poison, you start to do that to other people, and you start to kind of almost become you are what you eat, but you start becoming like that person, not leadership. I'm telling you, watch for the fruits of the Spirit in the book of Galatians chapter 5, verses 22, verses 23. I'll also post those down below again. And I'm telling you, like, you answer to God at the end of the day. Fear God, not man. And I know that can be easier said than done. Let's just get real for a minute, because if you have been a people pleaser, you want to please people, you want to be liked by people. I think it's normal to want to be liked, loved, and accepted by people, but also don't lose yourself in the process. Don't lose your peace. Don't lose your joy. Don't lose what God is doing through you and in you and wants to do with you. Don't let man hinder you. And I'm telling you, it's 2025, and I can't believe we're almost halfway through it, but there has been so much exposure going on corporately in the United States, and I'm sure around the world, of different leaders. I'm not saying names because I don't want to get involved in it, but, leaders, churches of people that are falling, that are stepping down. I'm sure in the government, I want to be careful with what I say because I don't want to get kicked off YouTube, but, I'm sure there's stuff, will happen in the government. And just stand your ground and know who you are as a child of God, as a person, as a human being. Know who you are, and do not be ashamed of who and what you are. Be yourself, be authentic. If people really could get down to it, they would probably be brutally honest, say, I would rather have somebody real and authentic than to have a cookie cutter, fake, carbon copy of somebody else. We are all beautifully and fearfully and wonderfully made. And don't be around people that are hindering you, making you feel bad about yourself, hate yourself. It's just not right, and that's not of God, and that's not God's nature. And I want to apologize to you if you have been hurt, traumatized by the church. I'm very sorry that happened to you. That was humanity. That was man. That was not God. As I've even gone through my healing journey and still on my healing journey of things that's happened in my life, I even go back in my time frame, like, man, if I knew then what I know now, I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have responded that way. I wouldn't have said that, however that may be. But I seen something somewhere where regret is a wasted emotion. And it's hard not to have regret, but feel the feels and process and grieve and do what you need to do and move on. And I cannot stress to you enough, don't lose yourself because of man that are talking about their. And don't lose yourself. Don't lose yourself, and you don't deserve to be treated like you're not even a human being. You don't deserve to be treated a bad way. You don't deserve to be, for your pastor and your leadership, to be sitting around the table at dinner after church gossiping about everybody. And because if they're talking bad about you, if they're talking bad about them, they're talking bad about you, that whole saying. And stay close to Jesus, y'all. And if you ever need prayer, please reach out to me on Instagram, Facebook. I will respond to you when I can, and you will remain anonymous. And thank you so much again from the bottom of my heart for being here. I hope that this part 1 and part 2 was helpful to you. I hope that it can bring you some freedom, liberation. Maybe if you're searching for an answer, it could be, something that could bring something to light for you as well. Remember, the Word of God is alive and active, and all the answers you will need to life is in the Word. And thank you guys again so much for watching today's video. If this video helped you, encouraged you in any type of way, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I upload on the first Wednesday and the third Wednesday of the month, unless posted otherwise. And I will link all my social media links down below. And I love y'all. Happy middle to end of May. It's almost, the summertime is here, and take care. I will see you guys all in my next new video. Take care. Be well. Be here tomorrow. Love y'all. Bye.